name's Stefan Cooper. I grew up here in Alcoa. I went to Alcoa High School in the 70s. I was in the Navy for about 8 years, and I went to UT from 88 to 93. Worked at the Daily Times for a while, about 17 years, and I worked at a newspaper called Blunt Today for 7 before it folded last year. And when it folded, I started my own website. I was just tired of it. I was like, I'll just do it myself, see what happens. It's called Blunt Press Row. It's small. We're not yet a year old, but that's about the story of that. I mean, I think with the Beacon, it's over 25 years maybe writing sports. At the Beacon, I was sports editor, news editor, and sports writer. I've worked with a few people. Like, the newspaper was big enough at Blunt Today for me. When I brought someone in, I could do a lot of training, and we weren't big enough to hire people straight out, so we would work with a lot of people that were still in college, and give them experience and pay, and go from there. And I tell every one of them, the biggest thing, the most important thing, is make the connection with the people and try to get out of the way your own writing. I mean, every time you go to a game, go shake the head coach's hand. If you're writing for a local paper, they should know you. They'll only have confidence to talk to you and what have you, and you can get sources, get stories when they know you. Shake the coach's hand. I mean, never forget you're writing about people. And if you're working in a small town and there's not professionals, don't go be making ESPN jokes on somebody's kid. It's not the father or the kid you ever have to worry about. It's the mother.
Really? What about the moms you got to worry about?
Moms will come out of the stands. You write something about their boys, they'll come find you. And they don't want to listen. So, I mean, really, I said that's a trick nobody, or not, I wouldn't say trick, that's a thing I think is valuable. Every time you go interview a coach, anybody, shake their hand. It does an amazing thing. Other than that, I mean, the note taking and a lot of that, and writing stories. I don't know how to do that other than working with someone or whatever. We're so small, we can't staff like you obviously would want to. I mean, I have to break the days up to where I'm covering something or writing something or working with the site, with the webmaster, how we want it to look, what are we supposed to build next, editing stories, getting more up on just the business of web media. It's brand new. So I try as much as I can to block off days to do only this or focus more on this. Go try to sell more ads here, plan what we're going to do next here. But it tends to run together. You just fill up a day and go to sleep. The thing I want our site, to have, and it's been in the planning since we started, is just, like I say, with so many hats to wear, we just haven't got to it yet. But it is an intention of mine to have a kid at every school that we cover to be, if you will, a beat writer. I mean, if nothing more, especially when you get to the lower middle school levels and things like that, a week synopsis of what happened with their teams. I mean, you can get more names in there that way as an editor and whatever. You keep up on what's going on. You find out who the kids are, the stuff you really need to be at. Oh, yes, by and large. I mean, I want Little League parents. I mean, lots of parents can write. Have a parent that goes to every game, whatever, send you a weekly update or whenever or something, I don't want and can't write everything. So, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I think it's definitely, I don't think you can stop it. I mean, you'd be crazy not to get on the wave. I like the people. I mean, I can forget a game score like that. But I can remember something somebody said to me 15, 20 years ago, and I remember that kid. I can remember jersey numbers from kids that played 30 years ago. Just, I don't know, the people. It's like, I used to have a girlfriend I swear, she used to bust my chops all the time about how much she hated sports, which is probably the reason we were no longer apart. But anyway, and she would talk about the things that would interest her, and I would always say, let me ask you something. It's not sports, to tell you something, it's not sports that you're watching. Like, there's somebody inside that helmet. That's somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's husband, boyfriend, whatever. inside that helmet. There are people. It's just people doing something in another realm that's not politics or business or whatever. But it's people. And the same traits and whatever, good and bad, that are in sports or in everything. It's just another prism of life. And the thing as you touched on it there, and I'll quit with this, the thing that always drew me to sports is when I was a little kid and I played Pee Wee football. This was in the 60s. And, it was still, and it was probably the only time, at that time anyway, where kids, black and white, you played on the same team, but you would never see each other after that, basically, depending on where you live. And you realize, before you knew what you were thinking, that it didn't matter who that guy was, or his color, or anything like that. If he didn't block for you, or you didn't block for him, the play doesn't work. And I don't know, that's stuck. It's the one place that even when racism was worse, sports was a venue where, even for only those few minutes, if you don't put that stuff aside, you will lose. And hopefully something comes from that. Remember the Titans.